Hello, welcome, or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. Clearly, we're doing something a little bit different. This has been something that's been working its way through me for the last couple months, and I feel like I kind of finally have the energy to put it out there. Forgive me if you can hear me breathing kind of hard. I'm nervous. That's also been part of the process, getting over the fear, because new shit, right? Scary. And I don't really think that there's anything else kind of out there like this, which is the heretic in me. So before I kind of get ahead of myself, clearly we are talking about human design. Maybe that wasn't clear, but okay. We're talking about human design. And specifically for the purpose of these readings, we are going to be talking about your human design profile. Now, this may be the first time that you're hearing about human design, maybe not. I mean, you can be kind of diving into it too. I have been doing a deep dive into it. And what made me take that dive is my profile. I'm a 5/1, which is a heretic investigator, which is also where part of my name comes from, the name of this channel and the name of my business. So, reading about my profile, I mean, literal tears were were coming out of my eyes, because it was the first time and probably ever in my life that I had actually felt seen and understood, and I didn't feel inherently flawed, and I didn't feel crazy, for having the experiences that I had had. So from there, and with the 5/1 profile, it is very hard to be seen. So again, just feeling that recognition, hell yeah. I was like, give me everything. I need to know absolutely everything. And I don't, I'm not an authority on this. I'm not claiming to be, I am claiming to be a heretic and bringing more information. I do still have an intention of doing the Zodiac sign readings, but this is just a different way for you to get information regarding your situation. And that's what my intention is. Because also the one line in my profile loves investigation and just kind of having that information. That's not everybody, of course, but like I said, it's something different outside of your sun, moon, and rising sign. So, the readings are going to be the same. I mean, we'll get to, of course, the good stuff, but I just kind of want to set my intentions here and what you can expect. Really, the only thing that's changing is, like I said, we're not going to go by Zodiac. We're going to go by human design profile. At the beginning of each profile reading, I do have an intention of reading some new information. Like clearly, like I have the definitive book of human design here, which comes from the School of Human Design, which I did not attend, but I bought the book. And I think it's, of course, just starting at the source, right? Or not. Okay. And then, I have a few other books. There's a few other blogs, and things. So, I do intend to just kind of give a bit more information on each profile every time I put these readings out. And then from there, we're just going to go into like the regular tarot reading. So that part is going to stay the same. Now, if you know your profile, you can just skip ahead because you would be here because this is your profile. But if you don't know your profile yet, I'll link the website below. I use Joven Archive because, again, you know, it's kind of coming from the original. There are plenty of options when it comes to getting your human design. So, I mean, you can just Google human design chart and pick one. Of course, I mean, pick one that's free. I think for the most part they are, most of them, all of them. So you'll need the same information you need for your natal chart. So you'll need your birth date, the time, and location. Now with human design, the time does need to be as accurate as you can get it, because there are certain things that can change based on the time. So again, you would want to try to get that as accurate as you can. If you don't know the exact time, maybe you know that you were born sometime in the morning, maybe you know that you were born sometime in the afternoon or evening or overnight. You know, I mean, you can kind of use a general time that correlates to the time of day. Like morning, you can use 6 or 8 o'clock, afternoon, noon or 2 o'clock, evening, 6 or 8 o'clock, overnight, you know, I don't know, 1 or 3 o'clock. And if you don't really know that, like I have a friend who has no clue, like the time isn't even on her birth certificate, but she has always had this feeling that she was born in the morning and has just kind of rolled with that. So, you know, but you'll put in your information and you'll see your body graph. This one is mine. Aw. Now, your body graph is going to be unique to you. I don't think that it's impossible, but I think it's incredibly rare for somebody else to have your same exact design. There might be similarities, but as far as it being exact, that's pretty rare. Like my cousin and I have the same centers defined, which means that those centers are colored in. And we have some of the same channels and gates, which are those red or black areas between the centers, but it's not exactly the same. But there's a lot of similarities between us, but of course there's a lot of differences. So you'll see on the right or the left side, there's those numbers in red, that's the design side. And on the left, there's the numbers in black, which is your personality. And those numbers are the correlating gates, which again are the red and black lines between the centers. And the centers are those areas that are either colored in, there's 9 of them. They're either colored in or defined, or they are white or undefined. You can have all of them colored in, you could have none of them colored in, and you can have any combination of that in between. So it depending on how your screen looks, you might have to scroll down a little bit, or it might be to the right, but you'll see that there's listed a type, which would be either a manifestor, a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, or a reflector. You'll see definition, you'll see strategy, you'll see your profile, your inner authority, your not self theme, and your incarnation cross. Now, we are focusing on your profile. Some would say, and I would of course agree with them, that one of the more important aspects of human design is understanding your type, your strategy, and authority, because that is how it is best for you to operate in the world or navigate life in the best way suited for your personal design. So, I mean, you can just Google or jump on YouTube and type in manifestor type, or just manifestor human design, you know, whatever your type is, manifesting generator, you know, whatever your type is, Just type that information. I mean, there's so much good information. Of course, you can buy books if that's what you're into. However, I will leave that more to you for the time being. And like I said, we are going to focus on your profile. And before we get into the readings, and actually before I even skip too far ahead, there are 12 profiles. And those are 1-3, which is the investigator martyr, 1-4, which is investigator opportunist, 2-4, the hermit opportunist, 2-5, hermit heretic, 3-5, martyr heretic, 3-6, martyr role model, 4-6, opportunist role model, 4-1, opportunist investigator, 5-1, heretic investigator, 5-2, heretic hermit, 6-2, role model hermit, and 6-3, role model martyr. So again, you'll find that there once you pull up your chart. And if you are new to human design, I just, because some people are like, what the hell? What is that? And again, I think that, I could talk for hours about what it is. And maybe someday I will. But for now, I just wanted to give this little snippet out of the definitive book of human design. It says the human design system is not a belief system. It does not require that you believe in anything. It is neither stories nor philosophy. It is a concrete map to the nature of being, a mapping of your genetic code. This ability to be able to detail the mechanics of our nature in such depth is obviously profound because it reveals our complete nature in all its subtleties. Excuse me. Human design opens a door to the potential of self-love, a love of life, and the love of others through understanding. Ra'uruhu. And that's the guy that channeled human design back in 1980 something. So that's just a little snippet about human design. And we're going to get on to the actual reading. Welcome. So if you're here, you are a 6-2 profile or a role model hermit. And like I said, we're just going to read a blurb out of the definitive book of human design on your profile. And and then, of course, we'll get started. We'll get started on the tarot reading. Please forgive me. I have my coffee here, or like my cream with a splash of coffee, as I like it. I'm just waiting for it to cool down a little bit before I start drinking it. So I'm not going to read the full 2 pages. I'm sure at some point I probably will read the full 2 pages. But for now, I'm just going to read this background. So it's this first paragraph and the second one. And I'm also going to read this bottom paragraph here. So the background says, the transpersonal role model hermit is here to show us all how to live authentically without being dependent on outside authorities, and to realize and accept our unique perfection. The unconscious and naturally gifted hermit just wants to be left alone to do its own thing. In the house metaphor, line 6 sits on the roof, separate from the rest of the house, but with a view into the next house or the next hexagram. Role models are not necessarily interested in what is going on inside the house. They are more interested in the broader view. This rooftop perch gives 6-2s the ability to be removed from the drama of life and allows them to objectively observe and offer a detached viewpoint much like the sage on the mountaintop. The second and sixth lines have something in common, as the hermit's natural gifts are always noticed, and the role model observer is always being observed. And then down here it says, as with all 6 lines, you will go through 3 significant stages in life. It is important for you to embrace each aspect of this process as it matures and prepares you for your true calling, which is the role of trusted leader. The first 30 years are trial and error discovery, gathering valuable experiences, and losing some of your innocence as you get exposed to the hard realities of life and what does not work. The second stage of your development is a time for you to retreat, heal your wounds, regain your optimism, enjoy life, and watch for the things that do work. Your unconscious second line hermit feels good in this stage, as withdrawal is natural. After the age of 50, you receive a calling, re-engage with life, and become a true role model and living example of the wise, aware, objective judge and observer. Very cool. Does that resonate at all? I wanted to read that. I'm trying to figure out where I can put this book. Will it be, okay. I wanted to read that bottom section because, you know, those 6 lines have those 3 stages of life. So from, you know, adolescence to 30, you are living as a third line, and that third line is all about trial and error. Like, you need stimulus, right? Like, you need things to try, or, you know, you learn by trying, and really it's more so like figuring out all of the things that don't work. So it can feel a bit chaotic, you know, and people around you might be like, why can't you just do something right, or, you know, whatever. But, you know, like as it was saying, all of those experiences are leading you to, and I have heard that people that have a 6th line, things are a little bit harder for them because of that role model energy, because, you know, you need to go through things and understand those things, so then you can, you know, kind of share and be a role model then for other people on how best to navigate those situations. So yeah, the first 30 years, you're, like it was saying, you know, you're gaining experience, bumping up against people, bumping up against life, making and breaking bonds. And then from 30 to 50, you're what they call as on the roof. And, you know, I mean, that's kind of like when you start kind of settling down, you know, maybe finding a career, maybe finding a relationship, if either of those things are what you want. But also maybe getting into some therapy and, like, you know, really kind of unpacking a lot of that stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be therapy, but, you know, you spend that time really kind of, like it was saying, observing objectively. I also find it interesting too that, you know, those 6 lines, like, there is this authentic thing that, like, you know, kind of goes across all the profiles that have that 6th line. Like, you know, really kind of living true to yourself. Sorry about that. I don't know if my AirPods just, I don't know, did something crazy. I don't necessarily have like a spread here. And I know when the cards start falling out like that, I'm like, I can feel that they're getting to the point of being ready. So I'm just going to split the deck a few times, lay out some cards. you know, the reading isn't necessarily related to the profile so much as it's related to you. Just like, you know, the zodiac sign readings. I want it to, you know, I ask for the message to be relevant to those of you watching under this profile. So that feels good. Let's see. Well, dang. Nine of Cups, Strength, the Fool, Three of Wands, Harvest of Cups, and Justice. Wow. And then the Seed of Wands. Let me make sure this is straight. Okay. I know I say this every video, and I mean it every video. But this is beautiful. And I love that we start with the Nine of Cups and we end with Justice. Kind of, you know, like start, end type of thing. So, I mean, we'll just go through each card like we do. And of course, you know, I mean, my intention is to give you all the messages that drop down to me. So I haven't even seen this card come out yet. I can't even tell you how long I've been using these cards. I mean, it hasn't been like very long. It's probably been like a month or two, but I haven't even seen Strength come out yet. So that's cool. I'm happy to see it. So the Nine of Cups talks about wish fulfillment. It is the card of wish fulfillment. And you know, when we talk about the nines are generally a completion of some sort. Like we individually, you know, kind of feel that thing done. And then when we get to the tens is when we typically tend to kind of share that with other people or with our community, with our, you know, work. So this is you feeling yourself, basically. You know, and if this isn't something that you're in the energy of right now, it's coming. Like, well, and then we have the Three of Wands underneath that. And the Three of Wands talks about like embarking on a new journey. I like to, you know, kind of read I have the little cards. I like to read the author's interpretations of the cards too, because it only helps me learn and expand my knowledge, you know? So let's see. The Nine of Cups says, it's time to kick your legs up, relax, and enjoy the sensual pleasures of being alive. Yeah. And then the Three of Wands says, I create space as expansive as the horizon, so that my decisions are met with grace, with the grace they deserve. Yeah, you know, like I said, the Three of Wands generally talks about embarking on a new adventure. Or it's like you're about to. It could also be, you know, sometimes it talks about your ships are coming in. So something that, you know, like you've been waiting for, whether that's information or something to act on, that's coming in. And you would also want to maybe check out your strategy and authority here. Like manifestors inform and generators and manifesting generators wait to respond, and projectors wait for that invitation, and then reflectors wait a lunar cycle. So, I mean, you might just want to check that out in regards to whatever the situation is. But it does feel like it's going to be different, and different can be, there's a scale or a spectrum with different, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a complete 180. It can be, but I'm looking at this 9 of Cups here, and the flower that she's holding is different than all of the other flowers that are around her, So, I mean, you might have just kind of chosen something that's maybe a little bit out of the blue, or maybe people would be like, what? Where did that come from? But it is going to be something that you feel good about. And maybe it is just kind of making that decision to go for the thing that, because it's interesting that even just the placement of these cards, it almost looks like this figure is looking towards the 9 of Cups. Like you could be, trying to figure out like your next steps, and you want to be sure that your next steps are in alignment with your authenticity, speaking of. And what's authentic to you may not be, kind of that status quo, or kind of, like what other people are doing, or even what you have been doing in the past. So it's about trying something else out. And then with the Strength card, I love how it's like this whale is kind of like wrapping itself, or just kind of playing in this. It almost looks like a 2D rainbow, or like if a rainbow got wet, like I know that's not like possible. I hope you know what I mean, obviously, just by like kind of looking at the card. It just looks so playful to me. And, Strength talks about resilience, and, like having that inner strength, like knowing that this is a thing that you feel good about, and that, like you have a passion and kind of a fire about. And it's holding on to that regardless of, kind of what people are saying around you, or even what you're saying to yourself sometimes. And it says, I am supported. My strength is a precious piece of the cosmic whole. Yeah. I mean, you can never really go wrong with anything that you are following or that you're doing if it is authentic to you, regardless of how it looks to other people. And then we have the Harvest of Cups down here, which is the King of Cups. And it says, guide emotions and situations with confidence and connection to subtle energies. If you are struggling for too much control, maintain humility and be open for continual learning. I mean, the King of Cups is the highest expression of the suit, right? So, cups have to do with our emotions. Wands have to do with action, communication. I see them as being an information card too. But this is, to a certain extent, it's kind of like mastering your emotions. And even, like I was saying before, if you are in the age group where you're on the roof, this would say to me, like kind of start sifting through some of those experiences and feelings and really kind of get down to the root of all that stuff. But then of course, like if you are coming off of the roof, then this would be kind of living that expression, right? Because it's not necessarily about like standing in front of a crowd and being a role model. It certainly can be that, but it's like, by you living your authentic life, by you being truly authentic to yourself, it's almost like you give other people around you permission to do the same. Because they're like, oh, that's, we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to just be, like authentically ourselves. We can do that. But also, these two cards together talk about, really being grounded and almost like kind of firm in the way that you feel about something. It was talking about confidence and connection, even. And if this is something new or even just new to you, or, like a new feeling, or just even like a new appreciation for things, it's almost like, just really kind of let that be your guide, and that I just lost the phrase in my head. I'm like, it's gone. But anyway, like really kind of stay grounded in that, and use that as your strength. I mean, strength is a Leo card. So, definitely that kind of fiery energy to it. And then we have the Fool. And the Fool talks about new journeys, and that's part of the reason why I kind of keep going back to this being something new. Because honestly, I mean, this whole thing feels new. And again, even new is a spectrum. Like it could just be waking up in the morning and feeling good about yourself, about your day, like looking forward to what you're doing. It could be just in the moment right now, right? Like you changing your mind, or your feelings are changing even about your outlook or situation, right? So again, it doesn't have to be these huge things in it, because sometimes I'm like, well, I don't really feel that, like big of an emotion about this thing. But anyway, so the Fool says, I am bound for newness. I swim past the threshold into the unknown with energy sparked by the infinite divine within and without. Yeah. This feels like this whole thing just kind of feels like this transition, or even like this decision-making process. Because it's like, here we are starting with a decision-making process, looking at, what is it that makes me feel good? What lights me up? What do I actually enjoy doing? Or really like, what doesn't burn me out? Because, I mean, this person is relaxing here. So, what kind of brings me that sense where I don't feel like I'm getting my ass kicked by the thing, right? So, it's kind of, there's this decision going on, or the soul searching thing going on about like, what is this thing? And then this part is, kind of making that decision about, is it possible to go after this thing? Is it practical? Is it going to bring me long-term enjoyment? And this would say yes. Like, we have the Fool and then the Justice card. The Fool, it is literally that leap. Like it said, it's crossing the threshold. It's going from this soul searching or this decision making process. It's like you've figured it out, or you are figuring it out. And this is kind of that in between space where it's like, I don't know, but strength is here to say it's going to be okay. Just kind of stick to your, what do they call them? Laurels. And then the Fool is going for it. And Justice is fairness. It's the scales balancing, right? And we have this black bag and the white bag here. So there's this duality between the dark and the light. And also, Justice talks about, hold on, let me, I hope I'm not annoying you guys with my coffee drinking and stuff. If I am, I apologize. I can't stop. So it's also interesting because Justice is very objective. And, the book was talking about having an objective, or being an objective observer, and offering a detached viewpoint. And maybe, like that's kind of where this is going here too. But justice has to be objective. It has to be based on fact and evidence alone, right? It cannot be based on feeling or opinion or thought, because that's not justice then. That is an actual opinion at that point. Justice is, there is no other, the only way to get fairness is to be objective. It also talks about these seeds that are starting to grow here. Let me see. What seeds have you sown? What dreams will you grow? My decisions are my power. I create a beautiful reality. Absolutely. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's beautiful that we start with this 9 of Cups and we end with the Justice card, where now it's, like there's creation starting here. And then we have the Seat of Wands at the bottom of the deck, which is the Page of Wands. And it says, I am the spotted seal, ready to lead the way. My creative passion is contagious. Let us swim together somewhere new. Let us play. Again, talking about the new thing, right? Like there's definitely this new stuff going on here. And this is almost like, kind of like the green light, or if you needed somebody to say, yes, go do it, then yes, go do it. Like whatever it is for you, unless it's committing a crime or killing somebody. I'm just a true crime buff. So, I have to I have to throw it in there. Don't do that. But if it is, of course, authentic to you, do it. Or even just try it. Like, right? Like, you've probably, if you've watched any of my other videos before, but I feel like I say fairly often that I'd like to try things on and see how they fit. Not clothes. I hate trying on clothes. But even these human design readings, super nervous in the beginning. I'm just like almost kind of petrified to the point where I couldn't even talk. But, like it started to kind of come together, and, like I continued to feel good about doing this thing, right? And I was like, that is what I'm going to let guide me, is that I do still feel good about doing these. I mean, I broke out a pendulum. I did my own tarot reading on myself. I was trying to find something that would tell me to stop doing these videos because I was so scared. Literally nothing gave me a no. Like, it was all yeses across the board. So I was like, well, okay. So even if you don't like necessarily feel prepared, or even if you are maybe a little bit scared, right? Like, if it feels good, and again, like going back to your strategy and authority, like figure out what that is, and even maybe do a little bit of research on that. And like I said, there's a ton of amazing videos or blogs about each type. But again, right, like just focusing on the thing that makes you feel good. Like, if it does feel good to you, let that be the thing that guides you. Because, the Page of Wands is also very playful. And pages are, kind of those newer energy. It's like when we first step into that energy. And I always kind of use the analogy of like, when you start a new job, like you're the new person, or start a new school or whatever, right? Like, you're the new person. Everything is new. You don't know where anything is. You have to be trained a little bit, but it's only new for a short period of time. And all it takes is repetition or trying things. And the Page of Wands is very playful. So it's also kind of remembering that element of play. Like, try to keep a playful attitude about these things, like especially if you are going to try things on. So try it, see how you feel about it. And if you don't feel good, like if you genuinely do not feel good in your body, not your mind, we don't make decisions from our minds, according to human design. And I 100% believe that. And honestly, just understanding that changed my life with human design also. Because I know that, like I can hear something in my mind and it's either maybe an old story, it's a fear, it's a doubt, it's blah, 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 whatever. But if I just kind of sink down into my body and ask, and just kind of like sit there for a little while and just be like, am I actually scared to do this thing? Is it actually something I should not be doing? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. Right? But it's like, deciding from my authority. I'm sacral, or emotional. I'm a manifesting generator. Jeez. So I don't want to keep kind of going in circles about that. Just saying, try it on, see how it goes. Even if there's like one part of it that feels good, you keep that, you get rid of the rest, right? So you keep that, you try something else, so it's just kind of like compiling this thing that is unique to you with this flower here. It's not going to look the same as everybody else's. It might not. It might not. I don't think it will. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. And I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. I'm going to leave it there. Talk to you soon.